With the advancement of drone technology, aerial surveillance is no longer an exclusive privilege of armed forces and governments. Today, equipment with thermal sensors, high-resolution cameras, and artificial intelligence is within reach of security companies, police forces, and even organized militias. In collapse, war, or civil persecution scenarios, knowing how to hide from drones and avoid aerial tracking can mean the difference between life and death. In this in-depth guide, you will learn the main evasion strategies, thermal camouflage techniques, motion dissimulation, drone detection, and even how to fool visual recognition algorithms. This content is not fiction, it is based on real studies, modern war experience, and special forces manuals. 1. Understanding the threat. What can a drone do? Before learning how to hide, it is essential to understand how drones operate and what they can actually see. Types of sensors used by drones. Optical, RGB, cameras, see like the human eye. Used for visual patrols. Infrared, thermal, cameras, detect heat emitted by the human body. Extremely useful at night. Motion and radar sensors, identify movement, even under cover. Directional microphones and acoustic sensors, pick up noises such as footsteps, engines, or voices. Typical capabilities of modern drones. Flight altitudes between 100 and 600 meters. Speeds up to 100 kilometers per hour. Hovering for continuous monitoring. Algorithms for automatic detection of heat, human shapes, and unusual objects. In short, if you are outdoors, moving or emitting heat, you can be detected, even at night and even hidden in dense vegetation. 2. Avoiding drones starts with prevention. The best way not to be detected is not to attract attention. This means move only when necessary. Avoid open areas. Never walk alone in areas targeted by drones. Avoid using connected electronics, cell phones, GPS, that can reveal your position by triangulation. Drones can be controlled by remote operators, but they can also be autonomous and programmed to patrol and mark suspicious positions. Therefore, prevention must be constant. 3. Visual camouflage, fooling optical cameras. The basics of camouflage against drones. Avoid contrasting colors. Wear clothing in shades of gray, dark green, brown. Avoid black, which creates a silhouette, and standard military camo, too conspicuous in urban areas. Cover your face and hands. They are the most visible parts of the human body. Use camouflage nets or thermal blankets, mylar, with leaves and branches. Avoid shiny surfaces, metal watches, backpacks with reflective details, exposed cell phones. The most effective camouflage is the one that breaks your silhouette. That is, curved forms, straight lines, head and shoulders in relief must be concealed. 4. Thermal camouflage, fooling infrared sensors. This is one of the biggest challenges, how to hide the human body's heat. Military and tactical drones use infrared sensors to identify body heat even through sparse vegetation. Therefore, techniques must be applied correctly. Techniques to hide heat emission. Mylar cover, emergency blankets reflects part of the heat. Use multiple layers and cover all parts of the body. Partially bury yourself in moist soil or sand. Ground cools thermal emission. Improvised thermal shelters. Dig a shallow trench and cover it with branches, leaves, and a reflective tarp layer. Avoid physical activity during aerial surveillance. This raises body temperature. Remember, even in a mobile body, if much warmer than the environment, will glow like a lamp in thermal cameras. 5. Smart movement, timing, pace, and cover. Do not assume that running away will save you. In most cases, staying still and invisible is safer than running. Practical tips. Move only under natural cover, trees, cliffs, ruins. Avoid walking in a straight line. Aerial drones easily detect geometric patterns. Walk between shadows. Even at night, drones with infrared detect heat. Shade helps disperse and confuse. Rest during the day and move in the early morning hours or at night, with caution. Never use visible flashlights. Even infrared light can be detected by specific sensors. 6. Advanced evasion techniques. For experienced survivalists or combat situations, these techniques raise the concealment level. Thermal decoys. Plastic bags with hot water can confuse sensors. Heated cloths hung in trees distract operators. B. Thermal curtains. Combine thermal tarp, a layer of soil and vegetation on top. Create bunkers or hides in slopes, with thermal insulation. C. Group movement. Split into small groups and keep distance between members. If one is detected, others can escape or prepare counter-evasion. 7. Understanding drone tracking patterns. If you are in a monitored area, try to map flight patterns. How to do this? Listen for repetitive sounds, constant buzzing. Use binoculars or mirrors to locate drones at a distance. Create a mental map of areas where the drone flies more often. If possible, record flight times and use that data to define movement windows. 8. Urban drones versus rural drones, strategy differences. In urban areas, use buildings as cover. Avoid walking on open streets. Entry into abandoned buildings can hide your thermal signature. Avoid rooftops, they are too exposed. In rural areas, prioritize dense vegetation, caves, holes, abandoned structures. Camouflage is more effective, but thermal detection is more common. Drones hover longer because there is less signal interference. 9. Drone detection techniques. Yes, it is possible to detect drones before they detect you, but it requires auditory sensitivity and constant attention. Signs that a drone is nearby. High-pitched buzzing from above, like a swarm of bees. Moving shadows, especially at dusk. A blinking point of light in the sky, if it is dark. Wi-Fi or Bluetooth devices may experience interference nearby. Some survivalists use scan radios or SDRs, software-defined radios, to try to pick up drone control signals in military zones or urban surveillance. 10. Neutralizing drones, the last resort. Attention, in many jurisdictions it is illegal to bring down drones, even in self-defense. This section is theoretical, aimed at zones of conflict, war, or absolute social collapse. Ways to interfere with or neutralize drones. Microwave weapons, EMPs used by armies. Unfeasible for civilians. Net weapons, manual or launchers for low, nearby drones. GPS and radio jammers, devices that block the control signal. Improvised launchers, slingshots, bows, etc. High risk, low range. Never try to neutralize an armed drone. Many military drones carry explosives or lethal weapons and react automatically to threats. 11. Essential items to escape drones. Assemble an anti-surveillance kit containing thermal blanket, mylar, camouflage net, face mask and gloves, clothing in neutral tones and without reflective parts, skin radio or SDR, small mirror, to identify drones at a distance, compact binoculars, portable thermal shelter kit, physical maps of the area, opaque black fabric, to block heat in shelters. 12. Psychology of invisibility, control the instinct. When you feel watched, the instinct is to run or crouch quickly. However, this can attract attention. Mental discipline is essential. Keep a cool head. Remember, still and invisible is safer than visible and moving. Do not look directly at the drone, eye reflections can be detected by zoom. Never turn on flashlights, build fires, or use a cell phone during an overflight. 13. Real cases, drones in conflict zones. Syria, rebels used fake fires and wet clothing to confuse Russian drones. Ukraine, troops camouflaged with thermal tarps and improvised tunnels to move unseen. Colombia, guerrillas buried themselves in leaves and only emerged after monitoring. Venezuela, civilians hid entire communities in caves near rivers during military operations with drones. These cases show that with creativity and discipline, it is possible to survive even under intense aerial surveillance. Conclusion: invisibility is a trainable skill. Hiding from drones is not just luck, it is science, strategy, and repetition. It involves technical knowledge, emotional discipline, and constant adaptation to the environment. Remember, the drone sees more than you think. Heat, shape, sound, and movement patterns give away your position. The more predictable you are, the more vulnerable you become. Camouflage is not an item, it is behavior. Prepare in advance, train in controlled places, study your region, and develop a mindset of strategic invisibility. In times of conflict, those who are not seen are not hunted. And remember, always be prepared.